Hey, what's going on, guys? Biz here once again. This is going to be episode 2 of the Summon Reaper Occultist build diary. Character is now level 92. We'll run it through a map real quick, just a T11 Mesa. The character has cleared up to T16s, but this is just what I had in my inventory when I was getting ready to click record on the video, so that's what we're going to run. A lot of progress has been made on the character. I'll deal with this later. I don't want to watch anything yet. A lot of progress has been made on the character. A lot of cool stuff going on. It's been basically one full day of mapping. I didn't really get to play much yesterday. I had to cancel stream yesterday. My fiance got COVID, so I was busy dealing with stuff with that and IRL, so I didn't really get to play much. So the character's got one full day of maps on them. Most of the time spent on this character was basically farming a lot of Syndicate to get recolors on my bow. And what else? Basically just getting a lot of essences, just like crafting materials and stuff like that. We've also set up heists as well to start going for alt quals. I did get a primer grading lens, but I did not hit the correct alt qual on my Reaper. I got anomalous instead of divergent. Oh my god. Life regen, extra life. I don't know which one's the real one. I'm just attacking random ones. So there's a ambush mod on tanky monsters is very annoying on this build. I will say that. Because it feels like right when you go to dash on the Reaper, she will always miss. They'll ambush away and it'll miss. Essences are like pinnacle boss tier this league again for some reason. Most of them aren't that bad though. There's this build also kind of, it's annoying the in Sanctum that the one like saboteur guard that creates clones of himself like that essence monster did. That one is really hard to kill for this build because, you know, it would be less of a problem once I get all my CDR and stuff, but at the beginning it's like, you know, your dash is like a 5-second or whatever cooldown. You throw it out, if he goes if he does a split clone thing or whatever, he just doesn't take damage from that, so you basically have to wait for your guy to auto attack him down. Overall though, this build doesn't really struggle with too many mods. I will say the like Hex Reflect mod or whatever is pretty annoying since I'm a triple curse build. Oh, my relic was down. I didn't even notice. Oopsies. Very cool. Okay. So let's get into it. Level 92, like I said, pushing 93. So this is what the passive tree currently looks like. There is some damage that I've dropped in order to fit some other stuff in. The character is at 4.9k life, a little bit over 1k energy shield. We are running Mom, obviously, with Devouring Diadem. All of our labs are completed in the order talked about in the previous video. You go Profane, into Unholy Authority, into Vile Bastion, into Void Beacon. Vile Bastion is got a ton of synergy with Devouring Diadem and enabling us to actually run Mind Over Matter as a defensive layer. Because we get tons of regen. We're also getting regen from the Beltcraft. I'm pretty sure I covered that in the last video as well. I have not grabbed the Minion Defense Mastery for +8 to all max res. That's simply because I wanted to get Spell Suppression Cap, which we currently are. I had to use 2 extra passive points on this gem socket, or jewel socket, which I don't really want right now, which is a little bit unfortunate, simply because I need a little bit more dex than I have, simply due to using a Triumphant Lamellar that is corrupted. It's a 6-link that I have. It's got life, 2 decent res rolls, and a suppression roll. It's not anything crazy, but, you know, it's better than nothing. And I guess 2 passives to enable a 6 link is not that bad, right? But ideally, I need to get rid of this chest piece so I can save myself 2 passive points there. A lot of what I've sacrificed on the tree so far has just been a lot of masteries. I've not yet taken redemption, which is a decent amount of minion damage. Past that, you can actually just completely drop the determination mana reservation efficiency. I'm pretty sure what I will do, like super late game with like a cluster jewel setup, or a Amanamu's Gaze setup where you need a bunch of jewel sockets, or and possibly Glorious Vanity setup. I think what you'll do is just unspec all the points here all the way up to Sanctity, keep Sanctity, but unspec the this stuff, and it gives you like, I don't know, like 12 passives, 13 passives or something to play with, which is a lot of wiggle room on the tree in terms of passive points. So that's basically the tree. There's not a whole lot to really talk about with it. It's been 1-to-1 followed with what you guys saw in the last video. So nothing crazy to go over there. In terms of the gear, my links on my Reaper are pretty suboptimal at this point. I spent a lot of time trying to color my bow. I ended up farming 2 porcupines. Well, I already had 1. I farmed up another porcupine. And I was just rolling the colors on one while using the other one. And what I landed on, I did 2 level 4 Varichis with Mastermind and got, this is the best thing that I've gotten. Unfortunately, I only got 1 white socket with both runs. And I'm pretty low on June missions now, so I haven't been able to run it again. But the downside is that to do the Varichi, you have to brick the bow. You can't do the Varichi bench if you've already got white sockets. So it means you have to roll off of what you currently have and then risk it. I think it's like 1 in, if you only want one green socket, it's like 1 in 200 or 300 jewelers or something, according to the Varichi calculator. And that's if you, it goes down to like 200 if you don't care whether, what the other sockets are. If you have 3 red or 3 blue, or 3 red or 3 blue, which would be 2 of the other and then 1 green. Which means in that setup, if you were to just get a 2 socket, 2 white socket, then you would be completely fine. But I only got 1 both times, which kind of sucks. However, the links for this are perfect with the caveat if I had Empower. Unfortunately, I don't have Empower, so in this last red socket, I'm using Maim, which is a pretty trash damage support, but it's better than nothing. Also, while clearing, I am using Summon Phantasms, so my Reaper has a Consume buff, which is, you know, clear speed. And Phantasms themselves also really help, because Profane Bloom will, like, explode a pack, right, and everything dies to Profane Bloom. However, the Phantasms do plenty of damage by themselves. If you have like 10 Phantasms out with this POB, I think they're around like 500k DPS by themselves, which is pretty good. I believe that's not including bleed damage either, by the way. Sorry, let me take a sip. That's not including bleed damage either. Just the auto attack damage, since the assumption there is that they will already be bleeding for the Reaper, so it won't overwrite. But they deal good, you know, pretty respectable damage by themselves. I mean, to clear most of a T16 map, 400k DPS is plenty. So the Phantasms will run around, they'll hit stuff, and they'll proc your Profane Bloom explosions, and it makes clear a lot smoother. So basically, what I'll do whenever I'm bossing is I'll swap out Phantasm for Predator support, and this is something you would always want to do. Now, when, not if, but when we get an Empower, that will replace Maim, and it will well over double the damage of the build, and it will be so much damage that I'm pretty sure I can just drop minion damage while mapping and use minion speed instead to map even faster. But that remains to be seen. As of right now, the only gem swap is just Summon Phantasm for, you know, Predator support to get extra damage on single target. The bow itself is nothing crazy. Like I said before, crafting the bow for this build is really easy. You just want to hit it with Fear Essences. Now, I use a pretty low tier Fear Essence. You can see that it rolled 90% minion damage, which isn't crazy. But I did get +1 to level of socketed gems. Like I said before, I didn't get the right alt qual on my Reaper, but I did hit a level 21 Reaper gem. So my Reaper right now is level 22. And for those of you who don't know, like gym levels are the biggest scaler for Summon Reaper, so any plus gym levels you can get is a huge deal. Which is why Empower is so good, right? Now, once you get an Empower, you could actually craft this on beforehand if you wanted, like if you got like a good bow and you wanted to multi-mod it. Plus 2 to level of socketed support gyms. It will still be like a, I don't know, like a 7-ish, at least I think in my POB, it was like a 7-8% damage increase overall, with level 2020 gyms. So it is a decent damage gain without Empower, but obviously it's mostly to buff the level of the Empower. Aside from that, I just benched on increased attack speed just to, you know, get a little bit more clear speed out of it. But the only mods that really matter on this bow are the minion damage and the plus socketed gems. Moving on to my rings, I have now, as you can probably see, gotten 2 of my endurance charges ready. So I have this ring with T1 life and T2 ES. Getting ES rolls on your gear is good because it gives you more energy shield, which is just important for making mind over matter, a little bit of a stronger defensive layer. It's not something you want to focus on, but if you can get it on pieces of gear, then it's pretty good. Now, in the suffixes, we have minion movement speed, tier 1, T3 minion all res, and then an open suffix to craft our endurance charge. In our other slot, we have our unset ring with T2 life and some rarity, I guess, but the all res is pretty bad, but this was good enough for me. I was like, whatever, it's better than nothing. So hopefully this is not my end game ring at all. I wouldn't mind using it as an end game ring if that all res roll was not so low. I'm probably gonna have to replace this in the next day or two, but for what it is, it's okay. The last remaining piece that I need to correct before I can have my triple endurance charge set up is my amulet. I've not had a lot of luck crafting amulets. I really need lightning and cold res, which is why I'm using this amulet. The life roll isn't anything crazy. The ES roll is obviously trash, but I do have a lot of resistances from it, and funnily enough, it rolled T1 life regen, which isn't a terrible stat for us. It's not like we leech or anything like that. Not optimal, but not the worst. We have Entrench anointed as well to cap our spell suppression for the time being. Devouring Diadem. I want to farm another Devouring Diadem at some point to make resistance capping easier. As you can see, my unveil on this one was the duration ailments. We don't really want that at all. I want one with a resist roll, like a fire chaos, lightning chaos, cold chaos, doesn't matter which. Quiver is basically just resist. That's all I've got on it right now. There's not a lot of minion stats you can roll. I think if you throw a minion essence on it, a fear essence, you can get minion move speed or something. It's not nothing crazy. So really your quiver is just going to be a lot of resistances in life, the best you can get. And again, you can use either a broadhead or a shark tooth quiver for life on hit. I think endgame I want a shark tooth quiver. I have gotten a 20 qual ensnaring arrow without feeding frenzy or anything like that. I already attack quite fast. I don't really think I need the implicit from broadhead, to be honest with you. My boots, this is a new pair of boots. Now I'm spell suppression capped without spell sup on these boots, which means I could use these long term if I wanted to. It is a tier 1 life roll, a triple resist roll. Unfortunately, the cold res are low tier. The other two are acceptable though. And an open prefix to craft on move speed and onslaught on kill. And then on my gloves, another pretty good piece. We have tier 2 life, a hybrid armor and evasion roll, and then in our suffixes, T2 spell sup, T2 chaos res, and an open suffix to craft pure cold res, because I'm just barely over the line on resistances. My belt is nothing crazy. It's just a little bit of life, a little bit of resist there, good chaos resistance roll, and then an open suffix for the ES regen. And then again, the chest piece itself, if you missed it last time, is just a little bit of life, a little bit of res, and a little bit of spell suppression. It is corrupted. Mostly just using it because it's a 6 link. Now onto the links themselves. Summon Reaper, Maim, Minion Damage, Summon Phantasm, Melee Fizz, and Brutality. I already went over all this, so you should already know this. If you skip to this timestamp, basically I'm just using Maim because I don't have Empower, and this is what my gym colors landed on. This is not optimal at all. There's a bunch of other supports you could throw in instead if you didn't have a red sock. And then Summon Phantasm, like I said before, will be slotted out for Predator support or bossing. In our helmet, same as last time, Pride, Determ, Enfeeble, and Blasphemy. I did a oops and didn't quality my Pride before corrupting it, so I'm leveling one of my gym swap. It's almost level 20 now. You definitely want the AoE. I also flipped my Determination. Unfortunately, my Vol did not hit, but I flipped it. You want that extra aura AoE to make your aura screen wide so your Reaper can get the damage bonuses and the defensive bonuses even when you make her dash far away. Blasphemy, Enfeeble. There's no reason to flip your Enfeeble because it's curse duration and you're using it on a Blasphemy. Definitely flip your Blasphemy support though. The extra 20% increase AoE is really nice. In our unset ring, we have Convocation. Doesn't really matter what you put in here. It's either going to be Flame Dash, War Banner, Convocation, whatever. Just any of your 1 links. Definitely flip this as well. The cooldown recovery rate is nice. Helps with map clear. In the boots, same as last time. War Banner, Flame Dash, Molten Shell, and cast when damage taken. We're using a typical 1 in 10 setup on the cast when damage taken. And then in the gloves, we have Summon Holy Relic, Feeding Frenzy, Malevolence, and Divine Blessing. So obviously it's just 2 links. It just happened to be 4 link. Some very good news, very important, by the way. Something that I completely missed, or forgot about. Maybe I knew it at one point. I have no idea. But in 3.19, they changed Reaper's consume buff to no longer give her damage. It only gives her AoE and like attack and move speed. So it basically gives her like onslaught, which on a bleed build, we don't really care about. It's not going to give us a very big damage boost, which means what I was talking about in the last video of potentially, especially once you get in power, having to swap out Holy Relic for summon skeletons on bossing. We no longer need to do that. I think the reason that I was led to believe this is because for whatever reason, if you still check consumed minion recently in Path of Building, it still gives you the damage boost. So I'm assuming that's a bug or an oversight with Path of Building, or the wiki is incorrect or something is happening in game that isn't accounted for, undocumented change or something, or there's a bug in the game and she actually is getting a damage boost from consuming minions. But I think it's the safest assumption is that it's just a oversight or a bug with Path of Building, something that wasn't updated because it's not a popular skill. That is the most likely thing. So the good news with that is that we get to use Summon Holy Relic on bosses. Why is this good? Well, 1, you don't have to gym swap, and gym swapping is not ideal. 2, you don't have to cast it, right? It'll be completely automated as opposed to having to throw down skeletons. And 3, Holy Relic, when it's proccing, gives you and your minion, most importantly you, a bunch of extra life regen, which skeletons obviously won't do. So it's a huge upside there. Shout out to the people in the comments who let me know this, by the way. I can't remember the username right now. I'll heart and pin the comment on the episode 1 so you guys can see who brought that up. But big oversight on my part, I guess. I didn't even know they changed that. And then obviously while Path of Building it, if I check the checkbox, I get more damage. You know what I mean? So it's not something I even would have thought to look up. But that's really good news for the build that they did change that, because again, huge quality of life for us. Past that, we've gone over basically everything at this point. We went over the passive tree, we went over the gear, we went over the gyms. What is next? Well, one big thing, somehow I dropped these gloves off stream yesterday, which is pretty crazy while playing this build. So I don't know, to be honest with you guys, I don't know if I'll try to fit this into the build. I did POB it. I can just barely cap spell suppression with a little bit better spell suppression rolls on my chest and getting some boost of spell suppression on them. However, the big challenge comes with actually, capping your resist, especially if you have a diadem that doesn't have a resistance roll. It is probably doable. It would be kind of hard since, bone rings exist, and I hate that GGG did this. Honestly, I hate bone rings. Anyway, it is probably possible, but I don't really see much of a reason. As of right now, the only way I see myself fitting this in is for having a separate pair for mapping, and if I decide to maybe push 100 on the build to just add that little bit of extra speed to mapping. But Profane Bloom is already so strong by itself that this would cover a few awkward gaps in smaller packs, or when Profane Bloom doesn't pop and you get bad RNG, it doesn't pop on a lot of stuff in a pack. But with 50% proc chance, Profane Bloom doesn't have that issue much anymore. would be good. The temp chains on hit does save you 1 link, which means if you were using these, you could just do a 5 link setup on your chess piece. But yeah, ultimately I don't feel super pressed to actually use these right now. They may show up in another build this league. This has been the league of like some crazy gloves. Like I got Calm Spirit and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, that's all of that. Now, what else? I did actually get this nice jewel here. It's got life, chance to bleed, chance to taunt, and flat fizz, which is a 4 mod with life jewel that's really good for us. Now, to be honest with you guys, I did use 2 divines on this to get it to 15% chance to bleed. As of right now, my chance to bleed is only about 91%. I really need my alt qual brutality to really cap that bleed chance off to make it a lot more comfortable. So things to farm for the build, a lot of heisting. We need alt qual gems, a lot of abyssing. We want Amanamu's Gaze. I also need to start getting I-86 bases to like craft at least the very least a dragon scale, a chess piece. You know, minor upgrades, the amulet and the ring, replacing that stuff, getting our 3rd endurance charge online. And then the big thing is just pushing for an empower, just killing monsters, trying to get empower. That'll be the biggest thing for the build so far. The build's actually been a blast to play. I've been having a ton of fun with it. I think if you are someone who has really wanted to make Summon Reaper work, it always looked fun to you, but it was like too clunky or whatever, this build so far has felt amazing. I've had no real issues with it whatsoever. It's very comfortable. You can level with it as soon as you hit 28. You can just throw Summon Reaper in and it's fine. You just run through the axe, let her hit stuff as you go, and yeah, you'll just level up as you run through the axe, and it's super smooth. The build's cool because it at a base level is still very strong, but it has so much scalability. You have alt qual gems. You can go really hard with scaling gym levels. Obviously, empower. There's so much stuff you can do to really min max the build and push it that it's been pretty enjoyable so far. Overall, like I said before, though, just a lot of heisting, primarily pushing maps. You guys may start seeing bossing showcases soon. Not really showcases, but like the first kills of bosses on the build. I've done so much sticking around. I've basically been leveling a new build every single day of the league after my Flicker character died. Not because they've died, but it's almost like Zizzarin's build week is basically what I've been doing with all the POBs that I put out before League, and I've made a bunch after League start, so I even have more POBs. So I was just going through them, leveling them all up, seeing how they felt. And I haven't made videos on a decent amount of them. Like I leveled up a Cleave Slayer and a few other stuff that I just haven't done videos on, the Blade Flurry character. But this one is actually stuck for me. What I was saying on stream was like, a lot of the builds are fun, but none of them have been like, wow, I really want to play this. Like they've been okay, but they have like, I haven't felt the want to actually play it a bunch. And this build so far has been quite fun for me. I think at the very least, I will play it until I can farm up what I have planned for my next build, which is a slam build on a jug. I have a jug slam build plan that is actually pretty plug and play on whatever fizz slam you want to do. It looks very, very strong. So I'm really excited to try that build out next. For the time being, yeah, I'm really enjoying Summon Reaper, and I think that's all I got for you guys this time. I don't think I have a lot to add at this point. Not a whole lot going on. There were a lot of upgrades made just with gear and leveling up the character, obviously. So hopefully I got more good news for you guys in the next video. And I'm gonna end it here. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a thumbs down. Tell me what you think I can do better. If you like the content and you want to support me and be notified when I make new uploads, feel free to subscribe to the channel. You can also join my Discord. I offer build help in there, and then just my general PoE community is very active and chatty in there. If you want some place to hang out, talk about PoE or other games, follow me on Twitter. I need more Twitter followers, and come check me out on Twitch, because all these build diaries you guys see, I stream pretty much daily over on Twitch. So if you want to catch me live and talk to me, you know, in real time, or just see these builds more in action instead of just small little snippets and showcases, then feel free to stop by there. that's all I really got for you guys this time. Thanks a bunch. Made it all the way through the video. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy holidays. Bye, guys.